You're listening to the Deep Gripping Reality Podcast, the show that gives you leadership lessons and insights from the cutting edge of digital marketing. Hosted by Stephen J. Adelman. It's about to get deep.
So it's time for yet another live session. I've been doing a lot of these lately, but it's because, like I said on my last one, or one of my last ones, I want to put out more content, and I want to show... Sorry, I just ate a zinger. I want to show that it's not as hard as people make it out to be. I think that people make the excuses of, I don't have time, I'm not very good at it, blah, blah, blah. Well, like anything else in the world, the more you do it, the better you get at it. I've been asked how I know so much about certain things. And it's like, well, because that's what I get paid to do, one. And two, it's what I'm passionate about. So I spend a lot of time learning a lot of different things. Today I ended up having an hour-long training session, which I did as a live broadcast here. You guys might have caught that. If not, it's in the IGTV archive, if you will. And it went really, really well. And I've gotten a lot of positive feedback. There was some Q&A at the end, which was a lot of fun. But after that, I had several more consulting sessions. And there was a lot of follow-up, people wanting to talk about overall Facebook strategy and social media strategy and how they don't have Facebook included because in their strategy because, they don't like the platform or they don't have time or it's all too much. And here's what I'll say. 4.5 billion people are on Facebook. So that's 4.5 billion potential people that you could get in front of. Now, are you going to get in front of all of them? No, there's no way in hell you're going to get in front of 4.5 billion people, especially if you're not doing Facebook ads. But there is a good chance if you're posting good content, even if it's repurposed content from other platforms, that you're going to get follows and you're going to get likes and you're going to get traffic driven to your website. So I wanted to go live and talk about something that I just had a 2.5 hour conversation with another client on. This won't be that long, by the way. This will be rather short. But I had a conversation about taking a holistic approach to social media. So when I say social media, I'm including Google My Business in that because there's a Google My Business has a way that you can do posts on it, and it's some of the lowest hanging fruit SEO for a business there is with the highest ROI, the highest return on investment. You're literally feeding the algorithm keywords and services and products that you sell. So when people search for it, there's a better chance of you getting found. So definitely highly recommend that you guys do your Google My Business, fill that out. I have a whole podcast on that, by the way. So check it out, anchor.fm/TDGR. But that's not what this is about. So this client said, we'd kind of like you guys to take over, meaning the company I work for, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Google My Business, and Pinterest. And, it's a very unique thing here. This is a rare one. So normally it's, we want you to do a social media schedule that you can post on all of them. Well, that's not the best strategy. The best strategy is to understand that each platform has a unique culture, right? So you wouldn't go to a heavy metal club or a heavy metal concert venue wearing cowboy boots and denim jeans and a cowboy hat, right? Just like you wouldn't go to a country western concert wearing, a metal, a dark eyeliner and leather and boots and all that stuff. You have to understand the culture of the environment you're going into. And, a lot of people use the excuse, my audience isn't on such and such platform. Well, that's true, but how do you expect to grow or expand your audience if you're not testing it out, if you're not putting out content on other platforms? That's like, people are always like, well, which is better, TikTok or Reels? Well, in my experience, personally, Reels has better organic reach right now because they're trying to compete with TikTok. But in terms of which one's better for longevity, both. You can repurpose the content. Why not do both of them? Because that way you're reaching double audiences. And worst case scenario, even if they don't, perform well, then at least you've expanded it. The funniest thing about it is that you can't, there's residual value. Sorry about that. You take it with you. And when I say it, I mean if the brand awareness that you're building by being on other platforms goes with you. So even if Facebook were to get shut down tomorrow, which we all know isn't going to happen, but if it were to be completely shut down tomorrow, or it gets sold and somebody, kills it, that audience is going to look for you on other platforms. You've already built up that brand loyalty, that brand awareness. You take it with you wherever it goes. That's why, Vine, when I just started getting on Vine and really having fun with that, and when it shut down, I was kind of like, well, crap, now what am I going to do? Well, the reality is there's other platforms out there, and you take it with you. So, being on multiple platforms is important, but you have to understand the culture. You have to understand hashtags. You have to understand what fits best with what. And so organizing all of that can feel daunting. So here's an insider secret that I think is very valuable that a lot of people don't realize. If you go into the settings of your social platforms, you can link a lot of them together. So specifically, you probably already knew if you have a business page and a business LinkedIn account, you can link those two together. So you can then use the publishing tools on Facebook to schedule out posts on both Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so having those two linked together is super valuable. It also helps when you're doing Facebook ads. You can do dynamic creative ads that then show up on the story, on people's stories as ads. So that's huge, okay? But what you may not know is you can also link a Pinterest to it. So if you go into the back end of Pinterest and tie that to your Instagram account, whenever you would decide which board it lives on. So you'd create a board specifically for this. And everything that you post on Instagram would automatically post to Pinterest within 24 hours. So it posts on Instagram, then it reposts. Now, the reason that's brilliant is because the culture of Instagram and the culture of Pinterest are that hashtags are huge. You can have up to 30 hashtags on an Instagram post and a ton of them on Pinterest. And those two platforms being able to have that link juice built up, I mean, think about it. What I'm telling you is if you share on Facebook and it's scheduled out and it shares not only to Facebook but also Instagram, and then you share something directly to Instagram, it'll automatically share to Pinterest. I mean, this is it's automating the system. Now, the other question I get is, well, should I be posting the exact same content on every platform? The answer is no. First off, pictures need to be sized properly, and you can Google it. There's sizing charts out there for which images are best on which platform for whatever. Images on ads are going to be a different size than images on a feed, whatever that feed may be. So there's quite a few different aspects to it, aspect ratios to it for images, but then also, not just resizing and repurposing that content, but the textual content as well. So it's valuable to just shout out a platform by name. So what's up, LinkedIn, blah, 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 right? Then they know that that's something that's exclusive to that platform. So one of the things that I experimented with early on, about a year ago when I first started using Instagram to promote my podcast, is that I would do an IGTV, I called it the IGTV experiment. I have an episode on that too. But I would use an IGTV live video or just an IGTV video, record it, and then strip the audio, put that as a podcast segment. So the idea would be, if you follow me on Instagram, you get a sneak peek at what's going to be in an upcoming episode. However, to get the full story and much more in depth, you'd have to listen to the episode. So even though I strip the audio, and I still do this, even though I stripped the audio out of the video that I shared, by putting that in a podcast, then I could go more in depth and have a separate segment, excuse me, on the same episode. So it was a really easy way to kind of expand the content and get people a taste. If this is what I'm giving you for free, just by following me on Instagram, or even on I did the same thing on TikTok for a while. Imagine what I give you when you listen to the podcast and get the full meal. You're getting an appetizer right now. Imagine what the full meal with dessert is like, right? And so it's building out content quite a bit further. And that's really the secret to it. So you don't have to be on every social platform. I think that's kind of crazy unless you can link everything up properly. And by the way, if you have an e-commerce platform, you can automate your products to go directly to Pinterest. So every product that gets added gets pinned to boards. And that is a huge way to generate revenue. I'm talking literally millions and millions of eyeballs very easily. All you have to do is automate it with that. And that's a whole nother thing. I'm not getting into that. But I'm saying knowing the platform is smart. It's the best thing that you can do, is understand the platform, understand what your audience wants from you, and then give it to them. It's that simple. So Facebook has become a kind of a cesspool of politics and, a lot of confirmation bias and echo chamber stuff. So I personally deactivate my Facebook accounts during every 4 years during the election season, because I don't need that noise in my life. Now, that actually kind of hurts me, because the main way that I promote my podcast is through Instagram and by sharing it to Twitter, because it's linked up that way, and to Facebook. So I'm automatically losing a chunk of my audience every time that I shut down for a couple of months by unplugging from Facebook. Now, in the past I've left my Facebook account unsuspended so that I could still have it post to the Facebook page, but honestly, that's not really where my audience is right now. However, I'm still generating more link juice. Now, the podcast stuff is my experimental playground for digital marketing, right? All of this is. It's a proof of concept, and it has been since day one. So if this was a business thing and I was trying to promote a business, it would be completely different. I'm telling you, like, if I had a website built for the Deep Gripping Reality podcast and had it SEO pumped out and had all of these different social platforms linked to it and feeding back to it nonstop, it'd be absolutely ridiculous. The link juice there, the SEO value would be through the roof. So I guess what it all comes down to is the purpose. Is your podcast to give a voice because you're bored? Cool. If it's to give a voice to the voiceless, if it's to promote a business, if it's to promote other people's business, if it's to open up new business and networking opportunities, whatever, you have to have the purpose. You have to understand what the purpose is, and you have to understand how you can deliver that purpose through the right platform, and then take a very strategic approach. So the final tip I'm going to give you on this particular subject, and actually for this episode, is create a social schedule, a checklist that looks at it on a micro and macro level. So for the year, this is what I need to do. Every quarter, I need to check Google Analytics to see which platforms are performing well. I need to go through every month and check each individual platform and see how things are going. I need to check every week and see which people are responding to what types of posts, so that I know what to do. And every week I need to schedule out posts ahead of time. I personally like to schedule them a month to 2 months in advance, so that any other posts that I do are supplemental. The posts that I already have are done. They're already scheduled. It's done. So if I don't post anything or don't plan to, it's already taken care of. I can take a week and not have to do anything. However, anything else I do is supplementing that. So scheduling it out, having a strategy behind it, and breaking it down into a checklist is a very efficient and effective way to ensure that you're always putting out the highest possible quality content. But understand your audience, understand the analytics, understand the tools that are available to you, because you want to provide the kind of content that, one, the algorithms like. The algorithm gods always have to appease them, right? But two, and I would say almost more importantly, well, not almost, it is more important, your audience likes. So that's it. That's all I got for you. I wanted to go live just because I really wanted to share this. I was thinking about it, and I thought this is a great opportunity to share this. And I was driving to the store, so I figured why not. But thank you very much for tuning in and for checking it out. And don't forget to check out the Deep Gripping Reality podcast on the platform of your choice, or on social platforms just about everywhere at TDGR Podcast. So thank you very much. And until next time, dig deep, my friends.